Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Randa, and today we're starting another week of Randa's Crafty Vlog. Today is Monday, August 29th. It is 3:29 p.m., so it's much later in the day than I usually record these, but I've had quite the fucking day. If you notice, I have a new mic on today. This is the one that I had originally that I said didn't work on my phone. I've just gone ahead and plugged it in my computer, so I'm recording the video on my phone, the audio on my computer, and I'm gonna have to sync them up in post, which is freaking annoying, but I didn't love the quality of last week's audio. I know a few of you said that it sounded good, but I didn't like it. So I returned that Bluetooth mic that I was using because it just didn't work as well as I wish, and so far, this is the setup because I reached out to the maker of this microphone and they have so far not been very helpful. We'll see. But the mic does work on my computer, so it just doesn't work with my phone. I don't understand why, but I'm thinking of getting another mic that doesn't have an aux cord at the end, that literally has a lightning cable at the end, so I can plug it straight into my phone without having to use any adapters or anything stupid like that. But nonetheless, here we are. This weekend was crazy. It was gonna be like totally fine. Yeah, it was gonna be completely normal that we had my mom was throwing like a cocktail party that we were gonna go to, and there was talk about Perry fixing up one of his friends' like cars and then one of his motorcycles and whatever. We were gonna do some housework, we were gonna have a good time. And Saturday, he was like kind of in pain. He's still, I don't know, it's day 9 at this point post-surgery. And I guess it wasn't really a surgery, it was an extraction. And he's still in pain, which to me is a little shocking that it's like I was still in pain on day 9 after my wisdom teeth removal, but that's because mine got infected and I had to go to the ER a couple days after. But he didn't have anything like that, and so I'm like, why? But it doesn't seem like it's dry socket. Like, I can't figure out why he's still in pain. But we'll see. We're probably just gonna have to call the doctor and figure it out. But he was still in pain, but he was making it through. And then on Saturday night, we're sitting on the couch hanging out, and he gets up and sort of like rushes it to the bathroom. And usually when he like gets up and rushes to the bathroom that fast, it's because he has a hair in his eye, because he just constantly gets hairs in his eyeballs and he's like trying to pick them out. And so I figured that's what he was doing. And I can hear from the bathroom, he's like, "Oh, fuck me." So I go in there and I'm like, "What's going on? What happened?" And he was like, "Another tooth broke, another tooth chipped." And I was like, "That's a joke, right?" And he was like, "No." And he shows me the tooth, and it was one of his like premolars, like right up front. And it had chipped like right at the bottom near his gum line, where it looked like there was a little hole right in his tooth. And I was like, I mean, could that just be like a big cavity? Like, we don't know. And he was like, "No, it has like a sharp edge. It feels like it chipped off." And I was like, "You're fucking kidding me." So that was at like 9:30 at night. So I spend the rest of the night calling every dentist I can find, every dental urgent care I can find, trying to see if anybody can see him on Sunday. Because I don't know about you guys, but every dentist around us is closed on Sundays. Even a lot of the urgent cares are closed on Sundays. So it's like, he didn't want to take off Monday to deal with it. He's not going to wait a week with a broken tooth. We needed, because it was like sensitive to the touch. We needed to go deal with this. And so I finally find an urgent care that answers their phone at 9:30 at night and gets him in for the next morning. And so the next morning we go to the urgent care, the dental urgent care, and we're like praying that he doesn't need a root canal, that they're not going to want to pull it, that like it's not going to be something treacherous. And thankfully the next day it wasn't like as tender anymore. And I was like, I wonder if it was just the initial break that made it tender and then it was okay. And when the dentist looked at it, he was like, oh no, you're going to be fine. We just need to fill it. And we were like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh my God. Oh my, okay, fantastic. So it was still like $80 to fill the tooth, but it, with his insurance, but it's like, oh, for the love of God. So they had to numb him again, second weekend in a row, filled his tooth, and then we were on our way. And he really isn't in much pain, if any, from that. It still is just his wisdom teeth. His wisdom teeth are still bothering him though. And it's when he eats and when he brushes his teeth. It's like right after those two is when they get the worst. And I'm like, what is going on? Because everything on the internet says like, yeah, your jaw will be a little sore or whatever, but you really shouldn't have much in the way of pain after like 3 or 4 days. And we're like, well, it's day 9. So is he good? Like, so I said like day 10 is tomorrow. I might even tonight, if he's still in pain, like call the dentist that we got them taken out at has an after hours number. They don't have any, you can't come in, but you can call the people. And I might call them and be like, yo, he's not in like treacherous pain, but he's in pain. Like, is this normal? And see what they say. So that was that. We had to skip my mom's cocktail party on Saturday night because he had just broken his tooth. And then we spent all Sunday at the dentist, and like, poor guy, he's so frustrated. Like, I totally get it. But he is like, he's in pain. He had a hard time sleeping the first couple of nights. He's over all of this dental work. And so he is very frustrated with the whole thing. And I totally get it. Like, I feel so bad for him. And so we're hoping that this was kind of like the end of it. And that we'll be able to kind of go back to normal and his pain will subside. And like, oh my God, because it's just been ridiculous. And then that was our weekend. So we still like cleaned the house and stuff, but we didn't really do much in the way of anything fun because we were dealing with his broken tooth all weekend. Poor guy, honestly, just I felt awful for him. And so today, Perry went to work and I had a urologist appointment because I have like I've talked to you guys about this before. I have chronic bladder infections. I don't know. I get like 3 or 4 of them a year, usually out on the lower end, 3 to 4 a year. On the higher end, much more than that. So I've had possibly hundreds of them in my lifetime. And and it started when I was like 5, and it's been like that ever since. And so about 2 years ago, 1.5 to 2 years ago, I finally like went to a urologist and said, I should not be getting this many bladder infections. Like, what do I do? And they said that it wasn't anything wrong with my anatomy or anything. It was just probably genetic, and that I'm just more predisposed to them than the average person. And because my bladder was so like inflamed, they put me on a low dose antibiotic for like a year. And then after that year was up, I was supposed to go back. But within that year, I had switched insurances. I had switched from like, I don't know, Cigna or whatever it was to Medicaid. And therefore I needed a new referral to go back to see them for my new primary care. And it was a pain in the ass that I sort of like blew off. And, but then, so the medication ran out and I went, you know what? She said after a year, I might be good to like not have to take it anymore. So maybe I'm like going to be okay. And so for 6 months, I wasn't taking the medication and I was fine. And it wasn't until 6 months after that I got another bladder infection. And then I was like, you know what? I need to go back to see the urologist. So I made the whole appointment, went to my primary care on Friday. And while I was there, they wanted to do some blood work and stuff like that, just to make sure it was like just to establish care. But they were like, let's do some blood work to make sure you're doing okay. And so I've been sitting on that, a little worried about the blood work because I have gained weight and I am the biggest I've ever been in my life. So I didn't know how that was going to go. And then I got the referral from my primary care and went to see the urologist today. It went really good. I'm still able to they're actually not going to put me back on the antibiotic, but they're going to do like a supplement instead and see if that will, because she was like, you're so young. I don't want you to be on an antibiotic for the rest of your life if I can avoid it. So she's like, I have a couple supplements that the doctor really likes that have a bunch of like studies behind them that show that they work really well, that I want you to try, and check back with me in 3 months, and then whatever, like we can go from there. And if we need to go back on the antibiotic, then so be it, but hopefully these supplements will do the trick. So urologist went great, but I missed a call this morning that they were going to talk about my blood work, and I looked at the blood work panel came back to me on Saturday, and I was able to look at it, but the doctor's office was closed. And so I wasn't able to, they didn't talk to me about it, but I looked at it and did some Googling, and it was scary. I am scarily close to being pre-diabetic, like 0.2, away, whatever they measure it on, I'm 0.2 away from being pre-diabetic, and that's terrifying. And my carbs were really high. My carbohydrate level was really high. My cholesterol was all fucked up and all over the place. My triglycerides were really high. And all of those things show that you're overweight and you need to exercise more, and your heart isn't working. My blood pressure has always been a little high. My heart rate's a little high. It's all just, I need to lose some weight. I need to exercise more. My body's not very healthy. And I'm getting close to being pre-diabetic. So it's just a little too scary for me. And so I did, when I got them on Saturday, I just I cried to Perry about it, because it's so scary. And I do have a food addiction. I have an eating disorder. I have always been a binge eater, and when I was about 15 or 16, I developed a food addiction and have had a really hard time with food ever since, and a really hard time with my weight ever since. I am 270, but I'm 5'11", so it's 270 on somebody who's 5'2", and 270 on somebody who's my height, 5'11", is very different. And yet I'm not healthy at this weight. The last healthy weight that I remember being at was around 180, maybe 190. That's a pretty healthy weight for my body. So I'm almost 100 pounds overweight. And when you look at me, when you meet me and you look at me, it doesn't look like I'm that much overweight. That I'm lucky in the sense that I carry body fat really well. That when I gain weight, I gain it from the tips of my fingers to the tips of my toes. And so it spreads out really evenly. I don't gain a bunch of weight just in my midsection or anything like that. So you can't really tell that if you looked at me, you would say I was about 30 or 40 pounds overweight, not 100 pounds overweight. But it's because I carry it really well. And it's a blessing, but it's also a curse, because I go, well, I'm not that unhappy with my body. I can't be that unhealthy. I don't look that unhealthy. But I kind of am. So it's something that I've been wanting to lose weight. I've been wanting to get healthier, but that it's so hard because I have an extreme sweet tooth and an extreme love for carbs, and am addicted to it pretty much. And so and I'm very picky. My ADHD makes me very picky in the foods that I eat and the routine and whatever. And so it makes it very difficult for me to change my eating habits. But I know that I need to. So it's scary. And yet I think I'm not pre-diabetic yet. I'm not diabetic. I'm not I'm young enough that I think my heart is okay. They weren't super worried. They were just no, you need to change your diet. So when we ordered groceries that weekend, I ordered I paid really close attention to the labels and tried to get things that were low carb, low cholesterol, high in protein, high in fiber, low in sugar, like all of the good things. I got fruits for me to eat and veggies for me to eat and like snacks that I could keep around the house, because I do, it probably contributes to why I'm unhealthy, is I do a weekly McDonald's run that I love McDonald's. I know some people hate on it. I love McDonald's. It's the exact like awful food for you that like my body craves. And so I, like, every week before I go to therapy, I stop at McDonald's. I get a Big Mac and fries and some sort of ice cream. You wonder why I look like this. Why I'm unhealthy. And so I need to stop doing that. But it's like, I don't want to completely, I know I've done this before. And so I know that it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for anybody when you like completely restrict. So it's like, how do I figure out how to get my carbs down to the point where I'm going to be healthy while also not completely cutting carbs out of my life, completely cutting sugar out of my life, completely cutting everything that I love out of my life? It's not that like I can't ever have the mac and cheese or whatever, that I can't ever have a Big Mac. It's just maybe once a month, or maybe, you know, whatever it might be, some sort of moderation that I need to figure out for myself. But it's going to be a bit of a journey, because that crap is fucking hard for me. But I don't want to let this get any worse than it is. And so I need to fix it. But it's scary. And thankfully for me, I'm not super upset with my body. I don't love how my body looks right now. When I was in high school, I was 150. And so I know what my body looks like to be really in shape. I know what it looks like really in shape, healthy weight, and now like completely overweight. And I don't expect that I'll ever get back to 150, but I still want to be a healthy weight, a good healthy weight. And I remember how I felt like that, how I looked like that. And I think that's still very attainable, maybe a little less attainable because I know your metabolism changes in your 20s and stuff like that. But like still, I just want my body. I'm not too upset with how I look. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And so it's less for me about vanity and more about health. So I want to be healthy. That's my main goal. I don't want to like go to the doctors and have these high blood tests and these high heart rates and high blood pressure and whatever. I just want to be healthy. And I assume that my weight will follow. And it's just a perk at this point, because I am much more worried about that whole like pre-diabetes thing than I am with how I look. I know that's not the case for everybody. Thankfully it is for me, because I already have a hard enough relationship with food. I don't need to be tackling my relationship with food and my relationship with my body. I still do, because like I said, I don't love the way that I look. I don't feel my sexiest right now. I don't feel fantastic about myself when I look in the mirror, but it's not my main focus right now. My main focus is don't get diabetes. That's the focus. So I called them back today, the doctor. They called me earlier today to talk about my blood work, and then I called them back after I was out of the urologist. They talked really fast. It was like the receptionist that told me about it, and they talked really fast and really didn't go into detail about it. So thankfully I did some Googling, because otherwise I would have no fucking idea. But they did say your carbohydrate levels are like wacky, and you need to cut back on carbs, like seriously. They didn't say anything about my cholesterol, but I'm almost positive that was high or low, or it was bad, whatever it was. And then they said your triglycerides are really high. So were you fasting before that blood work? And I said, absolutely not. And they said, okay, well then you're going to have to come in again, and we're going to have to retest your triglycerides to make sure that, that those are good. So I have to go back in on Friday to do more blood work. I'm not excited. I fucking hate needles, but it'll be fine. And I'm also not happy because it's like last time I went to the doctor and weighed myself, I was having like a box of cookies a day. Like I was in the depths of my depression. I was not eating well. It was not good. And I thought I had been doing a lot better since then. But to see that I have only gained weight is not helpful. So I know I need to make a big fat change, but I'm working on it. So we're going to see how that goes. And I guess I'll keep you guys updated a little bit about how that's going. It's a shitstorm, but it's going to be okay at the end of the day. It's something I'm going to talk about with my therapist tomorrow. And, day 2 of trying to eat a little less carbs and a little less sugar and a little more protein is going pretty well. Hard, but when I was out running my errands today, I had a few errands to run after the urologist, and trying to not stop and get fast food on the way home, because I was out around lunchtime. So trying to not stop and get food was incredibly difficult for me. But I didn't. I came home and I ate something. But anyway, we have about 10 minutes until restock. I didn't realize we were so close. So that's about all I wanted to tell you guys. It's hard, but I'm working on it. And I wanted to read a Reddit story that I went back to the best of Reddit updates and found a story. Hold on, let me see if I want to see if I can pull them up on their regular account, but they comment so much on Reddit that I don't think I'm going to be able to. So let's just read off of the best of Redditor updates feed. Oh, and they have it linked. Okay. So this one, I don't want the update. I want, okay, so let's just, okay, it's concluded. There's been a final update or whatever. Oh geez, I already read to the end. It's okay. It was originally posted on Relationship Advice, and it says, I, 28 male, want to adopt my sister after my dad's death. My wife, 28 female, refused because we agreed on no children. Is there a way to fix this? I don't know. I'm kind of not loving this idea of the wife being like, no, we can't do that. Let's see what she has to say. I, 28 male, have been married to my wife, 28 female, for 2 years. We do not have kids, and we do not plan to. I have a little sister, 11 female. Due to the age gap, I'm more like another father than a brother. My father passed away from pancreatic cancer. There are 2 options for my sister. Either I take her in, or my uncle, dad's brother, takes her in. So we asked her who she wanted, and she chose me. Here's the problem. My wife and I decided that we did not want kids. So she does not want to adopt my sister, especially since my uncle can. But my sister has no parents now, and I want to make sure that she's able to recover and be healthy, and since she wants to be with me, I will not force her to be with our uncle. This is causing a lot of tension with my wife. Things escalated and finally told her that I am doing this whether she agrees or not. She can either accept it or we get divorced. We have not talked since then. What can I do in such situation? I think your wife's being kind of a bitch. I'm not going to lie. I think she's being kind of a bitch. Thank God for the best of Reddit, because this was removed by the moderators on Relationship Advice. I don't fucking know why. Geez. I think that's shitty, because it's she is 11. She's just a little baby, and she's going through such a traumatic event. And you're the wife, you're married. That's your sister-in-law. You're technically family now. I don't know. I care about Perry's family, so I feel like she should care about her family. I get taking in an 11-year-old is a big thing, but I've told Perry before that I'm not sure if I ever want kids or not. And yet if he had a little brother or a little sister that needed to be taken in, I would take them in a heartbeat. It's and you guys can make an agreement that like you kind of parent her and I can just, that like I can be a part of it, but you might be the heavier parent figure because it's your family. But like, if say she moves out at 18 or something, probably not, because who moves out at 18? But say she does, you've only got 7 years that you have to like give this little kid a home. Like, I don't know. I want to hear more of her reasonings as to why she doesn't like it, because he doesn't really talk about that a lot. But because then maybe that would give me a little more perspective as to why she's saying no. But I don't really understand it. Top comment says, well, you have to choose. Unfortunate situation. Next comment says, I would say just one thing. OP can find another wife, but can't find another sister for her choose him. They have a bond that will be broken. If OP chooses wife. Okay, so sorry. The restock alarm just went off right as I was in the middle of talking and I needed to go do restock. So I'm back. Restock is live. Woohoo! Let's see. That comment that I was reading didn't make a lot of sense, so I'm going to move on. It says, unpopular opinion, but OP's wife seems a bit selfish. OP, you are doing the right thing. Your wife may not want kids, but this is not you going out of your way to adopt a baby or something. It's your little sister. She is family and she needs you and feels safer with you than your uncle. I am really surprised at how insensitive your wife is being during a time like this. Life is unexpected. You are not asking her to be a mom, and your little sister likely would never view your wife in that way anyways. You are better off without your wife. And I think that's kind of what I was saying, is that she doesn't have to, he's not like, oh, I'm going to go adopt a baby, or like, oh, you need to be her mom, that like, you'll be like an honorary mom or like a stepmom type of thing. And it's... It's like his little sister needs him, right? She's 11 and an orphan. Imagine how difficult that is for a kid. And that's why I want to hear why the wife says she doesn't want to do it. He didn't explain that. And I'd like to hear why, because it's like, is she just being selfish and cruel? Or like, what is her reasoning behind it? It might help me understand it a little more. This next comment says, honestly, it is probably best that you adopt your sister and divorce your wife. Then your wife reluctantly agrees to stay with you, because whether your wife means to or not, her reluctance to care for your sister will probably eventually come through. It is a sticky situation and nobody is at fault. Your wife has every right to stick with her desire to be child-free. I'm a child-free woman by choice and would probably make the same decision as your wife if I was in her shoes. And you have every right to want to take in your sister, which is a really great and noble thing to do. This just means that you and your wife are no longer compatible and should be able to divorce as friends. And I get that as well, that it's like that's why I want to hear her side, because I don't want to just straight up tell her she's selfish, because she has every right to not want children in her house. But I want to know what it is. I want to know if it's just, I don't know. I feel like it would all depend to me on what she said her reasoning was. That it's like, is she just being selfish? Or is she truly like, no, it's going to like heavily affect my mental health to have kids here, like in this house. Like I really just can't do it. And then you go back to, you guys are incompatible, and I don't know, like, but maybe it's stuff where you could like reason out a deal or whatever, and she is just kind of shooting it down, it sounds like. But I don't know, because it doesn't, he doesn't say. So anyway, for the update, I don't know when this update was posted. Let's see. The update was posted 5 months ago. The original post, I believe, was also 5 months ago. Let me double check that. Yeah, the original post was 6 months ago. So 1 month later, we got an update. I talked with my wife again. She still refused as she does not want kids. So we basically decided to go our separate ways. She said, "You really are choosing your sister over me." I told her I did not want to go into this discussion again, but if that's what you want to hear, then fine. Yes, my sister takes the priority now. I am choosing her over you. This was our last conversation. I have been living with my sister for 1 week now. Being a single father-ish brother is definitely challenging, but I am really enjoying it. That's it. I think it was probably right for them to split up. She is obviously, I would love to hear more about this situation though. I feel like we get a very glossed over view of what is going on here. But we do get a little insight into the fact that she's obviously hurt. If she's saying that she feels like he's choosing her, his sister, over his wife, and he goes, "Yeah, fine, whatever. If that's what you want to hear, then fine." And it's it makes me feel bad for both of them. It's a fucky situation. And as much as if I were in her shoes, I would take the kid in, you have every right not to. And I just want to know what her reasons are. That it's not that because I want to argue with her, but because it's I also have reasons for why I'm not sure I want kids. There's half of me that really wants children and half of me that really doesn't want children. And so I battle with myself internally every day. And I just would love to hear her reasonings just from a curiosity's sake, just to sort of get her side of things a little bit. Because we don't get very much from this, unfortunately, and it kind of sucks. Top comment says, "An important takeaway from this mess. If you have a child/children, you must have a will, and you should absolutely make arrangements about who takes guardianship of your child/children in the event of your death after having serious conversations with these people. It may seem morbid, but it is so, so important. Edit. Also update these arrangements regularly as people's circumstances change and the needs of children change as they age." Yeah, I completely agree with that, because then this whole mess wouldn't have happened. And then this poor kid doesn't get stuck in this limbo of, well, I want to go with my brother, but my brother's wife says no, and then that makes her feel rejected. And it's just this whole poor fucking mess for this poor 11-year-old. And I can't imagine how unbelievably difficult that is. And if it was already in place, it would have been it still would have been traumatizing. But, you wouldn't have had to go through all this. And that's totally what I plan, if and when Perry and I ever have children, that it's that stuff will be put in place and I will want to keep it updated and whatever. My mom has always had a plan for what would happen with me and my sister. Money wise, people wise, whatever. I know that all that good stuff she's always kind of been on the ball with. And so I would do the same thing. Totally. It would have just saved a little bit extra heartache for this poor kid. And there's a comment that's a little long, but it has a lot of awards, so I want to read it. It says, "I think it worked out for the best. My father died when I was 14 to cancer, and my oldest half-sister, she's 21 years older than me, took me in, and it was obvious she didn't want me there. Some of the rules were no hugging or showing affection from anyone towards me. She had a son who was 11. He needed all the affection, so none was left for me. I wasn't allowed to go on vacation with them because I wasn't family." That makes me want to cry. "I wasn't allowed to spend weekends with them because that was family time and I wasn't family, etc." Oh my God. Oh, that makes me want to fucking cry. It's they're just kids. They're just babies. They're just little beings. And how can you do that to a little kid? I don't understand. "I ran away when I was 15 and she nor her husband ever reported me missing. A month after I disappeared, my best friend's parents reported me missing. I was brought back to my sister, in quotes, refused to pick me up because the money she was receiving from me had stopped since I was no longer there. I told my story to explain this. It is better to not be forced upon somebody who doesn't want you, especially after losing your only parent. I'm thankful the sister has OP who loves her so much, and I'm thankful his wife removed herself. The sister is going to need all the help and love she can get to make it through this devastating time, and the resentment she would have felt from the wife would have only made things so much worse. That's it right there. That's the only comment that needs any attention, because yes, correct. Correct. That's awful what happened to this commenter. And like, if the wife had like sort of begrudgingly stayed around, again, it would have just been more trauma for this poor little 11-year-old baby. Oh my God. Oh my God. And one comment below it says, my sister is 11 and I'm 23. I could never imagine doing something like this to her. I'm so incredibly sorry your sister did that to you. I hope you're doing better now and have no contact with her. Yeah. Oh my God. That's so sad. It was for the best. That I think it was for the best. And I also think it makes me think that, like, granted, this is a really big issue, so I guess it does make sense to like divorce over this, but it makes me think that there were other issues in their marriage, or they would have come up with some sort of deal. They would have figured out some way to work it out. They wouldn't have just gone straight to divorce a month later. It makes me think that there were definitely other problems in their marriage that then just kind of came to the forefront. And this might have been like the big fat, not the straw that broke the camel's back, but the brick that broke the camel's back. Because frankly, this is a big fucking deal. And this is divorce, a divorceable thing. And yet, I don't know, it feels like there was something else going on in their marriage. And so it was just for the best. But that's it. So I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're having a good time, a good week, a good weekend, whenever you're watching this. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, August 30th. It's 10:02 a.m. I just was lounging around having breakfast, and now I'm at my desk. And we're going to do a little something today in terms of work. And then I have to go to therapy, and then it's girls' night tonight. So I'm going to straight from therapy to girls' night with my mom. And I always get confused about how to introduce her. What is she? She's like so she's technically, like legally, my stepbrother's girlfriend, but they kind of do wife because they're not actually married, but they do common law. So I guess she would be my stepsister-in-law. Yeah. That's who she is. We do girls' night every other week. So tonight is the every other week. And it's going to be a good time. Yesterday was a bit rough. It was a long, hard day. I'm feeling better today. And I hope that I'm able to get some good stuff done and feel good about it and not like overwhelmed like I was yesterday. I was so overwhelmed. I like the whole rest of the night, Perry was like, "Are you good?" I was like, "No, I'm not good. I'm like so overstimulated and tired and whatever." And he was really good about it. He was really nice about it. But he was like, "What's going on with you?" He could tell that something was just not clicking with me. But anyway, I realized yesterday that I completely forgot to show you my crafting. So I did very good. I brought both of them in today. So let's start with the cross stitch. So I started a new page. So as you can see down here was where I left you guys. So I was filling in this blue part right here around for the river. And once that was done, I was able to move on to the next page. So I finished that and I moved on to the next page. And this has been for the past 2 nights, I believe, that I did where it says Butterfly Lane. Did these 2 butterflies, this fish, and then started filling in the blue, and then I did the green. I did the green first and then started filling in the blue, but I did the border of the lake or of the river. That's where the river stops. Or maybe it continues on down here, but that's where it stops for now. And then I just need to fill all of this in with blue. But we're on page 5 of 6, so I am almost done. I have this page and one more, and then we done with this. It's been, months that I have been working on this, so I cannot wait for this to be finished. I really love working on it, but I do get to a point where I'm like, holy shit, I'd like to work on something else. So I cannot wait until this is done. I'm so excited. And then I wonder how this is going to work with my mic. We're going to find out. But I brought my diamond painting for you as well to show you. And my wire is only so long, so we're going to see. Oh, I think I'll be able to make this work. I want to stand up to show you because it's fucking massive. Yeah. All right, so I know you can't like fully see it, but look! So you can see right in the middle, right below my head is the section that I'm working on right now. I'm about halfway through the second to last row. So I have this row and then one more row and then this boy is done. This is probably one of the longest I've ever worked on a diamond painting. So I'm very excited for this to be done, and I'm definitely doing a smaller one next before I do another big one. A lot of my diamond paintings are massive. I tend to gravitate to the big ones, but I do have some small ones, smaller. Not like, 30 by 40, but, more like 50 by 60 is smaller. 60 by, they're not snacks, but they're smaller than this, so I seem to have a lot of diamond paintings that go up into like the hundreds or like the 80s and 90s and like in terms of centimeters, and like after this one is probably one of the biggest canvases that I have, so I just need a smaller one. This one is definitely like 100 and something by I don't fucking know, and I already rolled it up. It's massive, I know that. So let me scooch back in. Hello everybody. So that's that. I do hope to maybe, once I'm done with a few work things here, maybe I'll have time to diamond paint a little bit before I go to therapy. I've got about 2.5 hours before I need to leave. I'm battling myself a little bit today, only because it has been tradition for me for so long that I do it as like a reward, that like before therapy, since it's right around lunchtime, I stop at McDonald's on my way to therapy and I get a Big Mac and some French fries and a McFlurry or a chocolate shake or something of that nature. And that has kind of been my tradition for a long time at this point. But because of my new health conditions, I don't want to do that. And so, but I do want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that for my health's sake, but I'm like really craving it. So I'm having to like change the time that I leave for therapy, because I usually leave to have enough time to stop at McDonald's first, and I'm not going to do that. And then I also was trying to like kind of carefully plan out my lunch today, because I need to make sure I eat before I leave so that I'm not like dying. I especially didn't want to go to McDonald's today because of girls' night tonight, we're probably gonna get like Qdoba or something. And so it's like I'm already gonna do like one out to eat for the day. I really need to like have that. I'm trying to keep that kind of stuff to a minimum. But it's hard because it's been like a treat to myself for going to therapy, and now I'm not doing it, and it's like I want to. But I'm talking myself through it, trying not to. My psychiatrist told me last night, he was like, if you ever want to if you're ever craving McDonald's, just watch Super Size Me, and then you won't want it anymore. And it's actually kind of funny because I've heard of that documentary, but I've never actually seen it. It's a whole, if you guys don't know, it's a whole documentary about a guy who started out healthy and then was eating McDonald's, I believe it was 3 meals a day every day for 30 days. And he was just completely like obese and unhealthy and in a really bad spot after his 30 days. And they show like his lab work and blood work, like whatever, through it to show how he's increasingly getting more and more unhealthy. And so it's like, if you ever wanted a reason, a motivation to not go to McDonald's, just watch Super Size Me. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea because I miss it. And like, it's a pain in the butt. I'm trying my best. And so far I'm doing pretty good. So let's do a Reddit story. I actually have to like find one real quick because I forgot to pull one up, but let's do that let's do best of Reddit updates. What do we think? See if there's a good, or should I do Am I the Asshole? Nah. I like the updates though. Let's do an update. I'm going to do one of the top ones. Sorry, hold on, I'm looking. Let's do this one. So I was gonna do, wait. Oh, there's a couple good ones I could do though. Let's do this one because it has the highest amount of upvotes. It still says it's ongoing though. Do I want an ongoing? No, I want it concluded. So this one, let's do this one. This is from, like I said, Best of Redditor Updates. It says, OP wants a divorce after 9 months of marriage because of her husband's relationship with his coworker. Oh, there's trigger warnings. There's a trigger warning of infidelity, so if that's gonna upset you, then don't do that. Okay, so the 2 original posts are still up on here. So I'm going to read those instead of the update. The first one, she posted on True Off My Chest originally. It says, I want a divorce after 9 months of marriage, but people in my surroundings seem to find this odd and immature. That's what the first one says. So it got a lot of awards. It was posted 16 days ago. It has 13,000 upvotes. And let's see what's going on. It says, I don't know if ages are required or relevant here, but I'm 29. Husband is 29. His colleague is 36. Her husband is 34. My husband and I have been together for 4 years. I love him very much. Even now that I want a divorce, I still love him. I found out about 3 months ago about his colleague when I visited his office and she was there. Apparently they have been working together for 5 years and they're very good friends, and yet I never heard about her until I saw her. Oh, hell. Something didn't feel right at all. Now I was paying more attention to his texting habits. And yes, he does text her almost every evening and a few times a day in weekends or when he's working from home or on vacation. And you've never heard about her before? Oh, hell no. I asked him why I never heard about his good friend of his, and he said we rarely talked about work since I never understood his field. I also don't understand my boyfriend's field, and yet I listen to all of his work stories and pay attention and can recite them back to him, even though I don't understand what an FMCSA is, but I know the acronym. Come on, that's a dumb excuse. I hate playing games, so I told him it was still odd that I've never heard about someone who he is on daily contact with. He gave me his phone and said that they haven't been on daily contact but it came in waves when she's having troubles at home. Oh, fuck her. Jesus. I read their conversations and it's a lot of joking around, calling each other cute names, her complaining about her sex life jokingly, her asking intimate questions about me, her asking if I threw a good birthday party for him. His birthday was on June 14th. This text stuck with me because he was texting her at the party and she answered, "You must be bored at your own party or you wouldn't be texting me instead of being with her." I don't fucking like this woman. I told him that I didn't find his back and forth texting appropriate and I considered it flirting. He was taken aback, but said he would stop if it bothered me so much. A month later, it has started gradually again, and I showed him that I wasn't happy about it. This time he came home with her to let her reassure me that nothing is happening between them. She was very ironic and disrespectful, according to me. That's her sense of humor, according to him. She was smirking and basically telling me that I had low self-esteem and felt threatened by their friendship. It wasn't her fault. Oh, that if I had low self-esteem and felt threatened by their friendship, it wasn't her fault. When she left, I told my husband that I never wanted to see or hear anything from or about her anymore, and that I would rather have her as a friend, that if he would rather have her as a friend than me as a wife, that he should say so. They stopped texting. This is fucking long. We had a 3 weeks vacation and we spent it in Santorini. She probably texted 2 to 3 times a day. He answered her at the end of the day when I was in the shower or something. When I asked him why, he said she had marriage problems. I asked him if he was a marriage counselor on top of his career and he just laughed it off. When we came back home from Santorini, he still had 1 week of vacation. We still had 1 week of vacation left. We went for a dinner and a movie. She probably knew because she was at the same restaurant later. We exchanged hellos and she asked if we wanted to join them. I said yes. She was very pleasant and asked about our vacation, touching my husband in a, quote, friendly way. You gotta be very careful with touching someone else's husband. That's all I gotta fucking say about that. I then asked how it was with them because I heard from my husband that they were having marriage problems. Oh, don't bring that up at dinner, you son of a. All 3 froze. Her husband asked, "What? Who said that?" And I answered that it was my husband who told me. My husband tried to explain with some dumb excuse, and I said, "But you showed me the text she sent every day about her having problems, but that I was so sorry if I got the wrong idea." She looked very angrily at my husband. When we got home, he told me I was out of line. I had enough by then. I asked him if they have slept together, and he said only once before he even met me. No, you can't, no. I don't care if it was before they met. You can't, maybe this is just a me thing, and maybe I'm a little too jealous or whatever, but you can't be friends with somebody who you've once slept with. I'm sorry, that if Perry was friends with a woman that he had once slept with, there would have to be some extenuating circumstances for me to be okay with that, because it's not that I think he would do it again. It's just disrespectful to me. I don't know I don't like it. I told him that I wanted a divorce because I'm thinking they're having an affair, at least an emotional one. He denied it and called me silly, wanting a divorce over text with a friend. Now I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks, and I'm adamant about my decision. I want a divorce. We're not fighting, but I asked him to move to the living room, and I refuse intimacy and any type of physical connection. I spend more time out of the apartment, workout, and long walks. I spend a lot of time in a library or the movies alone. And when I come home, I've already eaten dinner. I just take a shower and go to bed. I have spoken to my mother about everything I've written here. She thinks I'm making a big fuss about nothing. And my in-laws have heard about me asking for divorce from my husband, and they also think I'm making a big fuss. I haven't told anyone else yet, because I'm not prepared to hear how immature and rushed my decision is. He has tried to talk about compromise, stop being her friend, marriage counseling, and even find another job or move to another city, but my guts are telling me something is very, very off and that marriage shouldn't be this hard, especially this early. That's the end of the post. I don't think she's making a big fuss over nothing. The only thing that I would say is that before she finished her very last sentence, I said, he's tried to compromise with you. He's talked about not talking to her, marriage counseling, finding another job, moving to another city, like completely banning her from their lives. And if I was in that situation, that's where you have a mature conversation, you make sure your partner understands your feelings, and then you make fucking sure that he fixes it. And if he doesn't fix it, then you leave. But when she finishes by saying, my guts are telling me something is very, very off, all of that becomes moot to me. Everything that she said becomes a moot point. Because if you feel like you're in your relationship, I'm not in your relationship. If something feels very, very off to her to the point where she's like, I need to get the fuck out of here, you should probably do it. You should probably listen to your gut. There is probably something that you're seeing from the inside that like we can't see just from your Reddit post. So I don't think she's making a big fuss. I don't think she's making a rushed decision. Excuse the train if you can hear the train. The train is coming by. I don't think she's making a big fuss about nothing. I don't. Especially because really, frankly, he's saying he would do all of this now. He's gonna cut contact and move and whatever. He should have stopped talking to her the minute he found out his wife was uncomfortable with it. And he didn't. He continued to text her again. So he showed like 3 different times that her feelings didn't matter until she said, that's it, I'm leaving. And all of a sudden her feelings matter. You know, it's like if this whole compromise, stop being her friend, marriage counseling, move to another city, if all of that happened the first time, then I would say, I don't know, maybe you're being a little rash, but again, trust your gut. She had to do this like 3 different times before he goes, oh my God, we can move. Let's see what the comments say. The comments say, was she already married when they slept together? That was my question too. And OP responds and says, I guess so. I couldn't find when they were married while Googling her, and I don't want to ask my husband about it. Oh God, somebody goes fucking through it, but I feel like I need to read it because it's one of the very top comments. This comment says, your gut is correct. The fact he brought her to your home and watched her insult you, hit a relationship, hides all communication, and makes you feel like shit, ... Run. You deserve better here. You deserve better. Here is what you've laid out in your post without a bias. 1, wife discovers her husband has a very close female friend and her husband has failed to disclose. Yeah, that, 2, husband blames the lack of disclosure on not asking about work stuff and you wouldn't understand his field, putting blame on wife and being condescending. 3, husband and coworker text multiple times a day regardless of topic. They frequently discuss their marriages, home lives, and major events. 4, husband shows wife his phone after questioning. Text reveals flirting, nicknames, talking about sex life. 5, wife sets boundaries around texting because she sees it as flirting. Wife prefers texting stops, and the relationship is professional. 6, after a month, husband starts rekindling non-professional relationship again, going as far as to bring coworker home with him to reassure wife of the relationship. Coworker is rude, insults wife, and implied that she is aware of couple's home life. Wife is not reassured. 7, after the meeting, wife says she never wants to see, hear, or be near coworker again. Presents with ultimatum. Husband has to decide if he wants a wife or coworker as a friend and make a choice fast. Husband chooses wife. 8, Couple has 3-week vacation, 2 weeks away in Greece. Coworker texts husband daily and he hides it from wife, choosing moments when wife is 100% unable to catch husband in the act. 8A, on week 3, couple runs into coworkers and her spouse at local restaurant. The four sit for dinner. Wife decides to ask if coworker's marriage is going okay because she heard it's in trouble. Coworker's partner is confused. Husband and coworker are very angry with wife. 8B. Once home for dinner, husband and wife have an argument about appropriate discussions, discretion, and breaching trust. Now we're back to 6 and 7. 9. Husband admits to sleeping with coworker once before wife and husband met. Wife asks for divorce because she believes there is an affair, at least an emotional one. 10. Husband gaslights. Wife calls her silly and emotional, then ropes his parents into this. Wife asks her parents, and they say the same. Wife goes to Reddit for advice. And then the comment continues and says, does that sound so emotional and irrational now? ? I hope not. And that's what I mean, is if the very last conversation had started at the very beginning. The conversation of, how can we compromise? How can I make you feel comfortable? If that had happened the very first time, then she would maybe be rushing into this a little bit. But there was a lot leading up to that. And then it says, edit to add, sorry for the format, I'm on my phone, and thank you so much for the awards. I had to Google what they meant, and I'm honored. Seeing situations like these irk me, because we all have been there at one point. No one deserves to feel vulnerable, silenced, questioning anything and everything because the people in their lives don't respect them or have integrity to find a way to address concerns as opposed to gaslighting. Don't forget there's an update. Don't forget that there's a fucking update. Should we read the update? Shall we? Shall we? Yes, we shall. So this one, she just posted on her account that it's not posted on a subreddit or anything. It's just on, like, she created her own subreddit kind of for her own account. Update on my divorce from my husband of 9 months. Hello everyone. As many of you know, my post went viral, and even though I appreciate your support, I wasn't planning on making any updates for the reasons that my husband was very affected by the backlash. I want to start by saying I never meant to hurt my husband or anyone for that matter. When I was venting here, it was coming from a broken heart, and I never expected it to go viral because people break up all the time. I'm so sorry I hurt you. It was never my intention. The husband found it. Oh, fuck me. I still don't think she needs to be sorry for that, though. She had nobody else to go to advice to. I need to drink a water before we continue because this is getting ridiculous. Sorry if that's really loud because of the mic. I apologize. She doesn't owe him an apology at all. At all. But that shows the kind of person she is, that she did not need to apologize for that, for going to find advice, and yet she does. She says, I'm so sorry I hurt you. It was never my intention. Ooh, FedEx is here. Ooh, what am I getting from FedEx? Ooh, what is it? It's a Walmart box. Oh, my dog is going to go nutsos. He dropped it off. I heard him drop it. Oh, good. My dog didn't go nuts. He's going back to the truck. Yay, I got a box. Anyway, it just goes to show what kind of person she is because she says, I'm so sorry I hurt you. It was never my intention. When he doesn't fucking deserve it. Anyway, I was still getting 30 to 40 messages a day about updates. I've been on here long enough to understand it's crude to just ignore everyone who's been invested, whether it's out of thoughtfulness, reliability, or just for the entertainment. So I'm here now to make an update. This was 2 days ago, by the way. So she posted the original Where is it? Hold on. Hold on. So OP made the original post 16 days ago, and now this is 2 days ago. She's made an update. My husband has now moved out. He left yesterday and moved back with his parents. They live about 4 hours from here. He is applying for jobs closer to his new location. Before he left, he apologized for everything and asked for my forgiveness. He is coming back next weekend with his friends, and my in-laws to move the bigger stuff. He has only been able to pack his clothes, his PC, and consoles this time. We have also been to the bank to look over our finances. None of us can actually buy the other out of the apartment, so we're going to need to sell it. Until we do, I'm staying and paying the rent, and we split the loan plus interest 50-50. It's very sad because I worked so hard renovating and decorating this apartment, but I don't think a 29-year-old needs a 2-bedroom at any rate. My husband has also promised to co-sign amicably without asking for trial period. This means our divorce is going to be smooth and fast, maybe 6 months, due to us not having children under 15. My mother is more lenient now, even though she still thinks I'm ruining my life. She has accepted my decision and is showing me support, albeit very modestly. It's nice to have my family's support now. Have a feeling I'm going to need it. I'm going to need them a lot for the coming period of my life. I've spoken to the colleague's husband. Yes, this was a tricky one. If you have followed my comments, you must have sensed that I was reluctantly fighting this battle. No matter how much you thought telling him was the morally right thing to do, I still found it hard to make it my business. My beef was never with her nor her husband, and especially not with her children. No, they are not my husband's. I had no idea what their relationship was like, and I never thought it was my place or my duty to interfere, so I was hesitant. The husband contacted me on Instagram, however, and we chatted for a while. I told him everything I knew and that my marriage was over. He thanked me for telling him and said that he didn't know anything was about what's been going on, including her infidelity. I wished him luck, and he said he was sorry about my marriage and offered to buy me a drink in the future because he understood what I'm going through. So that's that. I'm a 29 divorcee, and God, I hope I'm doing the right thing here. It feels like I'm just winging it for the time being. Good night. That's it. Imagine in some fantasy world that the coworker's husband and her get together in the future. That's the next update I'm looking for. Probably not, but you know. Top comment says, you made the right call. Proud of you. Finally, a woman who made the right decision. I've seen so many women talking about their taking their shitty husbands back. Next comment says, I was a divorcee at 28. 10 years later, I'm happier than ever. Good things are ahead. So out of curiosity, ... is her husband divorcing her too? I imagine he must have told you while you two talked. And OP responded and said, I have no idea, actually. It was just DMs on IG, and I haven't seen his reaction. He was very calm and understanding and apologized on his wife's behalf. They've been married for so long and have 2 children, or 3, ? So their situation is totally different from mine. This comment says, did your husband ever take responsibility, or is he like he was in his post? And OP said he did, and he apologized. And then they respond back and said, at least the light bulb finally turned on. Good for you that you are moving forward. Yeah, I'm really proud of her. I think that she did the right thing. Totally think that she did the right thing. It's really sad. And yet I totally think she did the right thing. So, very proud of her. Very, very proud of her. Let's see, it's loading. I want to see if there's any more comments from her that are interesting, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah. That's about it. Good for her. Like, she's gonna find better things. She's gonna be fine. Oops, sorry if I just hit the mic and that was noisy as hell. But that's it. I'm gonna head out now. It's been 30 fucking minutes that I've been talking. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, August 31st. It's 11:37 a.m. I'm very excited about today because I finally get to work from home. Don't have to go anywhere, no doctor's appointments, no nothing. I get to just do my thing from home. I'm very excited about it because I feel like I've been running around like a fucking crazy person for the past week or so. And I'm ready to just hang out at home for a day and do a normal routine kind of a day. I need it. Especially because there's just been a lot of stressful stuff going on in my life. And with this new, I have, of course, immediately when I found out my blood results, I started, cutting out carbs, trying to cut down on calories, careful with my sugars, careful with my saturated fats, careful with my cholesterol, all that kind of stuff. And let me put this into context real quick. So for those of you who don't know, I bet most of you do know what the Atkins Diet is. It basically means 0 carb and 0 sugar. That's your diet, is you can have as much meat and cheese and whatever as you want, but you have 0 carbs and 0 sugars. And it's something that my parents, my mom and my stepdad followed really heavily for a while, and now they still follow it, but a lot more leniently. But for 3 years, something in my mouth. For 3 years, they followed it very strictly. And I remember when they did it, I was curious and I wanted to try it. But when you go from 0 to 100 and completely cut carbs and sugar out of your diet, there's a thing that they call Atkins Sickness or Atkins flu, whatever it is, where basically when you do that so quickly, your body kind of goes into shock. And I think it almost thinks that you're starving itself, or that you're starving yourself or whatever. And so you start feeling sick. You feel like you have a cold or something. And I completely remember when both of my parents went on Atkins and when I went on Atkins, the first week we felt kind of like we had a cold. And it's not fun. And then the next week you feel fantastic. So I think I'm doing a much, much less version of that, where because I so significantly cut back on carbs and sugar and all that good stuff, most people think, oh, you start eating healthier, you immediately start feeling better. And that has so far not been the case for me, that I do think a big part of it has been stress, that I've been stressed, and that's part of what's making me feel this way. But I feel so tired, and my stomach is kind of upset sometimes, and whatever. And it's I think I'm doing a lesser version of the Atkins Sickness, where I'm not going full blown, no carb, no sugar, but I'm still doing a version of it. And so my body's whoa, bro, what's going on? So, cause I've been doing this for 4 days? What's today? Wednesday? 4 days? This is day 4 or 5 of trying to be nice and low carb, low sugar, low saturated fats, all the good things. So I think coming up here pretty soon, I'll start to feel better. But for right now, I'm so fucking tired. And also I think a big part of it is stress, that I have been feeling a lot of stress. There's a lot going on in my life, too many doctor's appointments, too much bullshit, very tired. That I'm used to working from home and whatever, and I've been having to leave the house every single day for the past week. It's absolutely exhausting. So, but I'm doing okay. I'm excited to get to work from home. I feel a little better. I did therapy yesterday, and then I went to girls' night last night, which was very fun. And then I came home, but by the time I got home, it was like 8:30, and so then we just like hung out for a little bit and then took a shower and went to bed. So I didn't do any crafting last night, so I didn't bring anything in here. I don't have anything to show you, but I do have quite a bit I want to get done today, but I also want to relax, so I'm going to kind of like get into the Reddit story today because I do have some work I want to get done. And I found a nice Reddit story. I went back to Am I the Asshole? Because, we did a couple of the updates. Let's go back to an Am I the Asshole? This was posted 3 hours ago, and it says, Am I the asshole for tricking my parents into being on time for my wedding? I don't know, but it has a lot of upvotes. My male 33 parents are late for everything, like everything. Both of my sisters and myself have been disappointed so many times. Graduation ceremonies, birthday parties, even my father's retirement dinner. It is completely my mother's fault. She is a wonderful mother and I love her dearly. She just does not understand the concept of punctuality. I've seen her talking to her sister on the phone and reminded that she needed to be at my baby sister's dance recital. She waved me off and arrived after my sister had danced. Oh, that sucks. We are all used to it. My dad is just done trying to get her to be on time for anything. My now wife, female 28, told me in no uncertain terms that if my mother was late for our wedding, she would do terrible things to me. She was only half joking, but she was a witness to my mom and my dad arriving halfway through my cousin's quinceañera. I wonder why that's his fault, though. My wife told me that under no uncertain terms, if my mother was late, she would do terrible things to me. Why is that his fault? Anyway, so here's what I did. It is completely on me why my wife was not involved. If there is a dick move, it was completely mine. When we were getting samples for the wedding, I talked to the printer and had one special invitation printed with the time on it. With the time on it stated being 1 hour early than the actual time of the ceremony. My mother was beside herself apparently when they left the house and thought they were going to miss the wedding since she was part of it with her and my mother-in-law lighting the candles we would use to light the unity candle and stuff. When she arrived and noticed other people were just arriving and parking, she was so relieved that we were starting late and she just went with it. The ceremony went off beautifully, so did the wedding pictures and the reception. The problem came last Sunday. My parents came over for a big family dinner and we didn't bother starting the grill until they showed up. She asked why everyone wasn't eating and we just said we knew we would be waiting for them since they are always late. She said that she was not always late and that she had been on time for my wedding. She hadn't been. They arrived 45 minutes after their time on their invitation. My idiot cousin John, real name because it's common and he deserves people to know he is an idiot. He is adult, a D-O-L-T, to know he is adult, snorted at her statement. A few other people giggled or smiled at this, and she picked up and asked what was so funny. I came clean and told her about the special invitation. She is pissed at me for not trusting her and making her look foolish in front of everyone. If my cousin had just controlled himself, she never would have known. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. That's like, I can't imagine being like, yeah, I'm late for everything, and how dare you try to help me not be late. You know, that like, I can't imagine that. There's edits, so I'll read them. Edit, part of the reason she is mad is because she had her invitation framed. To be honest, I was already planning a heist with my sister to replace it with the real one in case she ever noticed the discrepancy between hers and one we have framed in our house. What does it matter if hers has a time 1 hour early? Why would you get mad about that? We would have made it like a joke in my family that like, yeah, you're always late, therefore I made your invitation an hour early, ha 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 ha, like, and everybody would think it was funny. Edit number 2. Yeah, we are Latinos, and no, I do not in any way consider it racist how many of you guessed that. I have been to Spain, and it's an issue there too, and the Philippines, basically everywhere those guys were in charge. Okay, edit 3. Stop defending John. He and I spent 30 years messing with each other. I have an Am I the Asshole story that ends with me getting an offensive tattoo, $5,000 for removal, and him getting a body cavity search at the Mexican border. I would post it, but it happened like 10 years ago. Okay, I don't care about that. I don't understand this. Something is not computing with me because why would she complain? I would be like, thank God you made my invitation an hour early because I would have been devastated if I missed your wedding. Like, what? I don't understand why you're upset about this. Top comment says, not the asshole. How can she complain? If you had sent her an invite with the real time, then she would have been 45 minutes late. She should appreciate the fact that you wanted her to be there enough that you took the time to make her a special invite to ensure she arrived on time. Exactly. Next comment says, I am frequently late, not 45 minutes late, but usually 10 to 15 minutes. I try my hardest to give myself an arrival time earlier than the start time. That way, if I'm late to the time I set for myself. My husband, sister, and dad all lied to me about what time we have to leave frequently because I encourage this because my brain can't be trusted. They mean well, and I appreciate the help getting my ADHD ass together. They're all very good at it by now. And so everybody else seems to be saying what I'm saying, is that it's like, I would think this was like an, oh my God, thank you for doing that. And maybe she's like embarrassed or whatever, but like, own your shit. You're late. Oh well. Jesus. Let's see if there's any comments from OP. Da, 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 da. This one says 100% not the asshole. LOL. Your mom is ridiculous. It's not rude that I'm late all the time. It's rude that you tricked me into not being rude. She knows she's wrong. She's deflecting because of pride. She should be grateful that you tricked her into showing up. It would have been bad enough to not show up for her kid's wedding, but then she and your dad would have been missing from all the photos and everything. I mean, that would be a constant reminder of her lack of sense, and you saved her from that. A heist? Ugh, you sound so fun and hilarious. Congrats on getting married. I have a feeling you're going to have a great life together. And OP responded and said, my sister literally said, you son of a bitch, we're in, when I asked for help. It's like all of all of the kids know it. They were all in on it. Like, it's... Oh, the first one that I've said that has seen... Somebody said, you're the asshole. You should have come clean on your wedding day and saved her the embarrassment of being the last to know. This trick is so old it was in Reader's Digest. I don't know what that is, but OP responds and says, really? I thought it up. Someone else said this wasn't the first time the printer was asked to do this. So he's being sarcastic, saying, I thought it up all by myself. But pretty much everybody says not the asshole. And this one says, info, does your mom show up late to an event specific to her, like her birthday? And OP says, yes. So he responds a crap ton in the comments, but none of it is super... This one says, not the asshole. I do this all the time for my friend because they have no concept of time. If she wanted the normal invitation, then she should learn to be on time instead of showing up whenever it's best for her. And OP responds and said, I did save her 2 of the actual invitation, 1 for her to frame and 1 for the scrapbook. I just hadn't gotten around to stealing the original yet. I was planning a heist. He was planning on swapping it out. But then I wonder if she would have looked at it and been like, wait a minute. Like, she was gonna find out at some point. It's not like, But anyway, no, you're not the asshole. I would have done the same thing. It would have been like a joke in my family, and I don't understand why she's getting so upset about it. No, you're not the asshole. Anyway, that's it, y'all. 15 minutes for one clip. I'm doing good. I'm cutting down on my time. Fantastic. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Hey, everybody. It is, God. It's like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Welcome. I don't ever do this. So it's technically Saturday. For me, it feels like Friday night, but because to me, it's Friday night, but it's 1 a.m., so it's technically Saturday. I haven't talked to you guys since Wednesday. I went to my employee's house on Thursday, and we got a bunch of good stuff done. Got a lot of prize packs out for some sponsorships that we're doing. We're sponsoring, my shop is sponsoring Drills and Chills and Festival of Witches right now, and Claws and Paws. A lot. So we got a bunch of good prize packs ready. We did a wholesale order. We worked on some other stuff. It was really good. But I wanted to make sure I know, and then Friday I got my blood drawn. I was out with my mom. That was earlier today. So I didn't really have time to film anything, which is why it's 1 a.m. because I wanted to make sure I wrapped this up and I let you guys know that Perry's friend from Chicago is coming into town tomorrow. I thought it was Sunday. He thought it was Sunday. We thought he was coming Sunday night. Because he's driving here. So it's a 14-hour drive. And so I felt, who is riding their motorcycle at 1 a.m.? Anyway, Perry's asleep on the couch right now. So that's why I'm up and in here. But we both thought he was showing up Sunday night because he was going to leave Sunday morning, drive here, get here late Sunday night. And then he called Perry earlier today and was like, yo, what if I come a day early? And it drives me crazy, and Perry knows it drives me crazy that he plans things. Perry does this. He plans things sort of on a whim. And so all of his friends also kind of plan things sort of on a whim. And I don't function like that. I have new nails, by the way. Look at them. They're little lemons. Aren't they cute? Anyway. I can't stand that shit, but like that's just sort of me being OCD and whatever. And Perry wasn't like too thrilled with it either, but he was like, I mean, yeah, I guess, whatever. So he was going to show up Saturday night. That's fine. We still have the whole day to like clean the house, whatever. And then he called us. We were going out to dinner because it's technically our 2-year and 11-month anniversary, which means 1 month from now is our 3-year anniversary. So we were going out to dinner. It's our usual date night, and we wanted to celebrate that. So we went out to dinner, and we're sitting like waiting for like our table to be ready. And he gives us a call. There had been conversations about him bringing a friend, and about Perry's friend bringing a friend that Perry doesn't really know, nor do I, obviously. Perry's friend that is coming has stayed with us before. I know him very well. We've met him many, many times. And so, like, it was no problem, but it's a friend that Perry has never really met. And so we were at first kind of like, I kind of don't love the idea of you bringing somebody into our house for a whole week that we've never met before, that Perry doesn't even know. If it was somebody that was like, oh yeah, if Perry was like, oh yeah, I was friends with him back in Chicago, you just haven't met him yet, I'd be like, yeah, dope. But he doesn't even know who he is. So we were at first kind of like, yeah, like, because he was like, I just don't want to drive 14 hours by myself and blah, blah, blah. And we were like, I get that, but I don't really want somebody in my house that we don't know. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And that was like a week ago. And so for the past week, he's been coming by himself. And then he gives us a call, while we're sitting at dinner like 4 hours ago. And he was like, I know this is last minute, dude, but I was just sitting here thinking about it, and I really don't want to make that drive by myself. Is it okay if I bring Anthony, who is the friend? And we were like, okay, sure. Like, we were like kind of okay with it, but like we're leaning towards no. And then when he was really whatever. And so Perry was like, okay. Sure. And then he was like, yeah, we were talking and like, we could even like leave tonight. And I was like, if he leaves tonight, like right now, like 8 p.m. when he called us, then he would get there at like noon tomorrow. And so I was like, we got to clean this house. Like, we got to get ready for like to have people over. Like, I sort of gave him a look. I gave Perry a look, like, and Perry was like, tonight? Like, is there any chance that you can leave like tomorrow morning? And Nick was like, well, but then if I leave tomorrow morning, then we'll get there like, like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, yeah, but he didn't seem too thrilled by that idea. And so Perry was like, he was doing the math in his head. And I was like, I guess as long as they come anytime like afternoon, it'll be okay. Cause then I'll have some time to clean the house, and we're like rushed, but I guess it's fine. And so Perry said that to his friend Nick and was like, and he was like, yeah. He's like, I have to he's like, I have to teach my friend how to drive manual anyway, and then we'll hit the road. so like, we have to dick around for like 2 hours anyway, because I have to teach him we have to do a couple of things, and I have to teach him how to drive manual, and then we can leave. And so they were like, okay, he'll probably be here like earliest 2 p.m. Okay, we can handle that. So not only did we find out 4 hours ago, I found out 6 or 7 hours ago that he was coming a day early. And then I find out 4 hours ago that he's coming 8 hours earlier than that. And I was like, Perry like hung up the phone, and I looked at him and I was like, what the fuck? It's so like, I don't have a problem with it. I like, we can get everything done. I don't mind that there's going to be another person here. Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm not like against it, but I was like, I hate when things change like that last minute. It completely stresses me out. I don't know if anybody else does this, but it completely stresses me out. And Perry was like, yeah, I don't love it either, but I'm not as stressed as you. And I was like, you don't love it, I'm stressed. So it took me a minute of like, okay, like we can do this. So that's what's happening. So we got home from dinner, and I had just bought a bunch of fall decor today. So I put out a bunch of my fall decor. I'm still not done like trying to decorate this house for fall, because I had enough decorations for our 700 square foot apartment. Now we're in a 1,400 square foot house, And so my little decorations for the apartment look like nothing in this gigantic house. And so I've been like gathering other things to decorate with. So I put my fall decorations out, and then I had put a pair of nails on today, and they were like way too big for me and like a little longer than I was expected and like really painful to wear for some reason. And so when we got home from dinner, I like ripped them off and put these ones on. But because I had just glued them, if anybody I file them, I buff them, I use the alcohol pad, and then I glue them on so that they like stick there. And so you're not supposed to rip them off like immediately. But I was so tired of them that I did. And because I did that, I was already in pain. And then I tried to rip them off. And it was so excruciatingly painful. But I got the new ones on, and I feel much better. So I'm glad that I made the switch, but I did that. I threw in some laundry. Blah-dee-dee, la-dee-da. It's 1 a.m. And I was just sitting there thinking, God, I really need to get a very last clip out to round out the vlog and to say that Nick and Anthony, Perry's friend and Nick's friend, are going to be here for a week. So they'll probably leave like Saturday. And so I will not have a vlog this week, next week, whatever week. I'll not have any other videos. I'll probably be a little bit MIA on social media and stuff. I will be around, so I'll still be answering messages and that kind of stuff, doing some work-related things, but I won't have any videos, I won't have anything. I don't know if I had told you guys that at any point during the vlog, so I wanted to make sure that I came on and rounded it out and told you that. So that's what's happening next week. Perry has 9 days off, so we're going to have a fantastic time. It's going to be great. I know it's going to be fun. I really enjoy Perry's friend. So, I know it's going to be a good time, and Perry's friend like really vouches for this guy, and we both trust Nick. So we're like, okay, if you vouch for him, then cool beans. We'll figure it out. So, so I have a lot of things set up. There will be a restock next Monday. I know Monday's Labor Day, but I kind of do restocks no matter what the holiday, unless I probably wouldn't do it if like it fell on like Christmas Day or something was like a Monday or whatever. But otherwise, I don't follow holidays. I just restock no matter what. So there will be a restock on Monday. I already have everything planned for it. Everything's ready to go. So, but I'll be around, just not as much. That's it. That's what I wanted to tell you, is we're going to have people in town. I'm going to be a little MIA. We have a lot to do to get ready. I still need to take a shower and wash my hair, and we need to go to bed because I need to wake up tomorrow and clean this entire house. I'm a little stressed. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little stressed about it, but it's going to be okay. It's going to, like, once they're here, it's going to be good and it's going to be fine. So that's it. I'm not going to read a Reddit story because it's 1 a.m. and I'm going to go take a shower and go to sleep. But like I said, I just wanted to come on and tell you guys that. So that's the end of this vlog. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend. And I hope you have a really great week next week. I'm so sorry there won't be any vlogs, any videos, anything. But I do have the Christmas ornament edition of Just Cross Stitch just came in the mail, so I'll be doing a video on that. And then one of my next videos is going to be what I think I talked about it earlier in this vlog. If not, it was in my last vlog, about I want to do videos. I want to do a video series called Falling in Love with My Stash Again. And I pull out kits from my stash and do like an unboxing type video to sort of show them off and fall in love with them again. Because some of the kits I've had in there for like so fucking long, that it's nice to just pull them out and re-fall in love with them again. And I've never seen anybody else do something like that, so I thought it would be fun. And this is my diamond painting stash. just so you know. But yeah, so that'll get started not next week, but the week after. I don't fucking know. Time is like so much to me right now because it's 1 a.m. I can't think of like what weeks happen where. I don't fucking know. But I will be back. So I hope you guys are having a great week and a great weekend. And I love you all. And I will talk to you in 2 weeks. That's it. I love you all. See you then. Bye.